if you're here, you're here to better understand what I use to deal with the challenges I have with misophonia, my crazy hearing. So I figure you already know pretty much what misophonia is, but you know, I'll tell you what little bit I know about it. So yeah, it's a neurological defect, and you know, I'm just hypersensitive to very normal sounds. Stuff that just is a-okay with everybody else causes me a lot of pain, psychological pain, really, to the point where, you know, I feel like I got to do something about it. Either I got to stop the pain or the psychological torture that I feel from the sound, or I got to leave. And, you know, just very natural, innate human behaviors they just drive me crazy. So, you know, it's hard to eat with folks because I got to hear you chew. It's like my ears in your mouth. And, you know, you can't go around managing everybody's life. You know, you just come off as like a weirdo, a jerk. And so, you know, it's not like I can tell people to stop clicking their pen or chew with their mouth closed. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I found out about all this in 2014. At that time and previous, I worked in information technology and local government. And so, you know, I had some challenges, obviously, with sensitivity and my hearing and some other sensitivities, all sensory related. And, you know, my bosses would just stick me in an office somewhere, a bunch of servers running, that nice steady hum of the computers, you know, the server in the server rooms. But, yeah, and then they'd stick me in a basement somewhere off campus, and I'd get my work done. So I got a new supervisor, and he wanted to bring all those under his oversight closer to him, to the main campus, and put us in cubicles. And nothing wrong with that. But, you know, we talked about that, and I told him, you know, boss, I don't think I can get a lot of work done, you know. And I tried to explain, you know, my challenges, and he did what any good boss would do. He sent me to HR. And so I had to talk to the HR department, and they said, well, you know, if you're having struggle complying with, you know, what's required of me, you know, as a member of the team, I'd need to get evaluated, because I'd worked for this organization for a while. And so they paid for a medical evaluation. And at that time, I was diagnosed with misophonia, misokinesia. And likely you already know that if you have misophonia, you know, I think it literally means hatred of sound. You know, hatred of sound, misophonia. And then misokinesia is hatred of movement, right? So, like in my peripheral vision. So, you know, I'm real weird about staff meetings. I was, at least at that time. I don't do a lot of staff meetings now because I'm retired. But in 2014, you know, working in a cubicle, I thought that would be impossible. So after the diagnosis, then obviously they put me back in an office off campus, and I was okay. But obviously, you know, still had to, you know, deal with my challenges. And so at that time I started to, because yeah, you go to a staff meeting and somebody's clicking a pen. Well, yeah, that's a deal breaker for me. And you know, you gotta be at the staff meeting. And so I started to wear Max. It's this, it's a, you know, kind of a moldable earplug. You can jam it in your ear. You can feel or fill the concha bowl, right? So I would put those in my ear and get through staff meetings. And the whole idea was really to get the bowl of my ear just covered, you know, so sound couldn't come in, or I could dull or numb the pain I was experiencing, right? Because again, you can't go around managing people's lives. But you know, I had some real compulsive behaviors too because of those challenges. I knew everybody at the meeting. I knew their habits. I knew the foot waggers, the knee drummers, the tappers, the hummers, the teeth suckers. I'm all about that because I'm trying to figure out how to get through, you know, interactions with humans and their normal behaviors, you know, and it's not everybody else, it's me, right? So, you know, obviously this worked for a while. You know, you mold them into your ear. It looks like I had cotton in my ear for the most part. You know, you jam that in there. You don't want it to go in your canal, but I would get it in there, you know. And I'd have one or two in this ear and one or two in this ear, and I'd walk around like that. But then I thought there's got to be a better way. And so I found a better way. I started working with this company called Sensaphonics. But actually, I left out a spot. Let me reverse. So, you know, diagnosed with misophonia, misokinesia in 2014. But then in September of 2015, I was diagnosed with glioblastoma multiforme grade 4, a form of malignant brain cancer. And then, it was my right temporal lobe, and had a craniotomy. So they, you know, they dug the tumor out. They got in there and grabbed a tumor the size of an egg. But yeah, I took that neurological stuff that I was dealing with, and it was worse. It was 10 times worse. So my misophonia got worse. And then I had to leave off from fooling around with this kind of stuff, you know, earplugs and stuff like that, because that wasn't helping. And I'll mention, I think, why that wasn't. And so what I did is I thought a better way is to go with a custom molded earplug. Now this is for my right ear, but you can see how it fits right into my ear. It's molded to my ear. In order to get this, working with that company, Sensaphonics, I'm gonna leave a link in the description below after I finish the video. But working with Sensaphonics, you know, I could buy these devices. So I had to go to a local audiologist, and what he did is he stuck some goop in my ear and he made a mold, okay? Made an impression, right? So I got an ear impression, both ears, and then I sent that impression off to Sensaphonics, and they made these for me, right? And this is my last version of, I think they call them full shell earplugs. So it fills the whole concha bowl, okay? But I mean, that's just, you know, that's just an earplug, basically is what it is, right? Custom molded. But you can see that what it does is it doesn't allow any sound, obviously, to get in my canal, because it's made or custom molded to my ear canal, but it fits into the bowl of my ear, right? So no sound can get in. So, you know, that worked for a while. That was good. And then I experimented with some other things that I won't talk about, because I really want to talk to you about what's working for me now. Because this is real challenging. And one of the reasons it's a challenge, because you can't communicate with people. You know, my hearing is so diminished, even though I can hear through them sometimes. My hearing is so diminished that it's hard to communicate with people. But it's a real relief, because it takes the edge off of all those trigger sounds, okay? But I wanted to come up with a better way. And in exploring Sensaphonics, their website, and you'll have a link to it, I tried a few things. I tried Shure 215 in-ear monitors, and they put a sleeve on those. That's not so meaningful unless you explore their website. But I still needed to fill the whole bowl of my ear. But with these in, not only do I have trouble communicating, but my ears are starved for sound. And from what I understand, that's not so good when you have misophonia. Because then when you take them out and you're back to your bio ears, right? Naked ears, then you're more sensitive. So if you starve your ears, then you can become more sensitive and you create greater challenges. So obviously, you know, this was my initial run up to what I'm using right now, okay? But I just wanted to let you know about that. These are, you know, very reasonably priced. All this stuff to me it's reasonably priced because I got problems. And I need to mitigate or lessen those, okay? So, what I did is I went to the next level, and I got something that works fantastic. So what I'm wearing here looks a lot like, you know, what I showed you. Just, you know, a benign earplug, custom molded for my ear, right? Again, you got to go to an audiologist, get the ear impressions, you send those off to Sensaphonics, they make your products for you. So next step was to get an active, you might call it an active ambient earplug, because you know, ambient noise to me is trouble with my, you know, my brain problems. So what I have here is same. It's an earplug, but it's got a lot of gear in it. You see a wire is connected to it. Custom molded for my ear. Now I have two pair of these, and I want to show you what this thing looks like when it's not attached to the wire in my ear. So I also have another set, and they're crystal blue, and you can get them in different colors, but you can see where the wire, I had something to point to this thing, but you can see, you know, where the wire connects as you look at my ear. But there's also a little microphone up top there. There it is, a little microphone. So what these are, these in-ear monitors, you may know more about them than I think you do, but what they are is musicians, artists, they use these, you know, lead guitarist, lead singer, all those characters, right? And so the idea is they protect their hearing from, you know, damaging sounds that might be on stage, but obviously that isolates them. So this thing has a microphone in it, okay? And so musicians will wake up, you might say, their hearing from the protected space. They activate the microphone, and then they can hear in between sets, you know, maybe taking the ambient noise of the audience. I have no musical talent, so I don't use them for that reason. I use them in the reverse. So with these in my ears, okay, they're just as good, but actually better than this device, because, you know, I've got the hearing protection, the protection I need as a meso sufferer from ambient noise, but then I'm not handicapped by the fact that I'm isolated. They sell this thing, and it plugs in to this device, a pack, okay? I've got an up down here. It has a this is where I can't find the little deal. Oh, here it is. This is where I plug in my ears, okay? So I plug my ears in like right here, okay? And this is how I manage, this is how I can control how I hear. So I can go up and down. So I can bring down the ambient noise to the point where, you know, I'm near deaf, okay? Well, I mean, it takes the edge off for sure. But since it has a input, it has a spot where you can, let me see here. See, because, you know, a music artist, you know, those characters, they can take an input from their sound engineer so they can do their thing. So what I do is, because I have two of these, I have an MP3 player connected to mine, right? And then my ears aren't starved because I have a nice genre or multiple genres of music that are good for me. And so I can have those at a very low volume, right? And my ears aren't starved. So I'm getting an input. And at the same time, I can wake up the microphones and take a listen. So it's good for a meso sufferer because to protect myself, my ears are not starved, right? This device has a lot of miniature stuff in it, right? That allows me to, um, from my pack, you know, an MP3 player, which is also an FM receiver. So if I'm sitting in a venue where they're transmitting FM for the hearing impaired, I can receive that signal. It runs into my pack, runs up into my ears. And if I increase that signal that comes from the MP3 player into the input of my pack, then that creates a greater buffer, a deafness, right? Because the louder, I mean, obviously I don't have it too loud, but when I increase the volume of the input, and I decreased the microphone, so I hear less, I become more isolated. So I'm doing what a music artist wearing these on stage, I'm doing what he wants to do in reverse. I'm using these to diminish my hearing, essentially to control when I hear and how much I hear, depending on the sounds around me that might cause me to be triggered or experience, you know, psychological pain. Yeah, so I get these things from Sensaphonics. You know, I didn't want to bore you guys with, you know, all my madness, but this is how I'm getting down the road. You know, after the diagnosis, you know, it was nice to know, I guess, you know, what was going on in my brain. And then, you know, after the cancer and the surgery, things got real ugly. And, you know, you got to do life. And if you're suffering with misophonia, you already know. You can't go around telling people to stop clicking their pens and, you know, sucking their teeth. And it's just that is the worst part of this disorder, whatever you want to call it. You know, because, you know, everybody's just trying to get down the road. And here you are trying to manage everybody's life, right? But then, you know, the flip on that is, you know, if I can't be around you, I got to get away from you. And then you got people avoidance behaviors, and then you're weird, right? So I won't bore you with all that. All I'm saying is go out to Sensaphonics. They got plenty of stuff. You know, you can try this, but the challenge with a custom earplug, that's from my right ear. The challenge with a custom full shell earplug is you're going to starve your ears, okay? You're going to starve them, right? And then when you take those out and you're using your bio ear, right? You're probably going to be more sensitive. At least that was my experience, right? For some reason, my ears need some input. They just need stuff that doesn't trigger me or harm me. And obviously, you know, the music I select, you know, per my taste, the genre I choose is good for me. All right. So I'm just recommending you go out and check out Sensaphonics, see what they got. You know, let me show you what the. I mean, you know, they're. I mean, it's a lot to wear. You know, I'm not looking just, you know, to have something deep in my ear. I don't mind that being in my ear, you know, because it's a tell. You know, it tells folks that, you know, something wrong with that guy. And, you know, maybe that's helpful. That might be helpful to you. I know at least it's helpful for me, right? But, you know, if you're looking to, and at the same time I listen to music while I walk around, you know. I mean, if you're looking to, you know, if you're looking to do, you know, I don't know. I got another set, and I figure I'd get the crystal blue, you know. Same, right? This is the left ear, right? Again, let me see. You see that? So the 4 holes there are for the cable, but that small hole by itself, that's the microphone. And so, you know, this becomes my ear, and with the pack, okay, with this device, right, I am able to then turn up or down my hearing, right? So I control when I'm hearing, right? And what I hear, right? It's like turning my ears off. I love it. And since I don't want to starve my ears, but ease my pain, I've rigged up, I don't know, maybe it looks a little ghetto, but hey, it works for me. I've got a MP3 player, which is also an FM receiver that goes right into the pack input, right? Out, in, and then that comes up to, as I described before, goes right into my ears, right? Like that. So not only do I have the advantage of, the numbing effect of having my ear canal and my concha bowl filled, I also can keep my ears, stimulated with, low a sound at a very low volume. Okay? And then that way I'm not real sensitive when I'm just working with my bio ears. Okay? But with these, I can, I can do so much. I regularly attend Christian meetings, and you're surrounded by people, and I'm taking instruction in, and I don't have to be all tangled up about the folks around me. In fact, in my church, we transmit via FM for the hearing impaired. I pick up that signal, and I've got the speaker, whoever's on the platform. I got them deep in my ears, right? But obviously I don't have that up so high that it's going to harm my eardrum. But with that input, and then with me turning down the microphone that I showed you, I'm practically deaf. The ambient noise around me just absolutely goes away, and I enjoy what I'm doing. I do that when I eat with friends too. Because I'm hearing everything you're doing in your mouth. That's one of the worst things for a miso sufferer is mouth noises. So all that goes away. So I just want to let you know what I'm doing to, make it through the day, right? So I gotta process this video and put it on my YouTube channel. There'll be stuff in the description, a link to Sensaphonics. And I want to tell you, they're great folks. Let me just talk about their customer service. Obviously, they're dealing with musicians. I think they do stuff with NASA, maybe the military. Anybody who needs good hearing protection. I think, guys that ride motorcycles, high speed, and race car drivers. They got all kinds of stuff. News reporters, right? But, I'm a miso sufferer, right? I'm not an audiophile. I mean, I like music, but not enough to buy stuff like this. I'm using this just to do life from day to day. And I'll tell you, it's just fantastic. But anyway, customer service. Let's talk about Sensaphonics. So, check them out on their website. But when you reach out, if you call them, let me see, the chief of artist relations. Her name is Claudia, right? And they got a lot of good people working there, right? There's some doctors working there. There's a Dr. Santucci. I think he's like the boss, the CEO, right? But head of customer relations is Claudia, and they really work with you, So if you reach out and you talk to them, because I've been working with them since I think 2019, right? And I'm known as Busted Brain, right? Because I've talked to them about what I'm using their products for, and so this is my review of what they're doing, okay? And I'm telling you, it's working, right? So, check them out, And obviously, there's a lot more than what I buy. What I'm wearing is the 3DME Custom Tour. Okay? So you'll see that when you get out to the website. If you need help, you can reach out to Claudia and the crew, and they'll help you. And I'll have my email address, so you can reach out to me. I call myself MisoPMarc, right? We just keep it right there. But yeah. Now I'm out of things to say. All right, so yeah, good ear health to you. All right, see y'all.